Namaskar. Nepal stands at the dawn of a new chapter. The nation's youth have spoken, reshaping the political map with a wave of energy. From Kathmandu's bustling streets to the quiet villages of the Tarai, a fresh voice is rising, demanding transparency, accountability and change. As the ballots settle, the mood is unmistakable. Hope, renewal and the promise of a different tomorrow. This is not just an election, it is a generational shift. We look at Nepal's new political landscape. Hundreds of supporters took to the streets across the Himalayan nation, singing, dancing and celebrating. As the former mayor of Kathmandu, Balendra Shah's party, the Rastriya Swatantra Party, claimed an absolute two-thirds majority in the parliamentary election in the country's House of Representatives. As counting continues, supporters danced to songs praising the soon-to-be Prime Minister Balendra Shah, popularly known as Balen, at the counting centres, ringing the bells and also the election symbol of the party. Balendra Shah, a former rapper and mayor, is poised to become the next Prime Minister of the Himalayan nation after a clean sweep in the election held in the wake of last year's September youth-led protest, which toppled the government led by KP Sharma Oli. The vote count still is underway for the 165 seats contested. This is in the first part of the election, which is the first past the post system. The RSP has 127 seats with a clean sweep in all 10 constituencies of Kathmandu district in the elections held last Thursday. The Nepali Congress has secured victory in 5 seats. The Nepali Communist Party has won 2 seats and the Communist Party of Nepal Unified Marxist-Leninist has won 1 seat. The RSP is leading in another 97 seats and the Nepali Congress, the Nepali Communist Party and the CPN-UML, they are leading on 10 seats each, while the Shram Sanskriti Party is leading on 5. The others are leading on 2 seats. The final results, covering 165 directly elected seats and 110 will be through proportional representation, are expected within the next week. The RSP leader, Balendra Shah, won from Jhapa constituency and Shah defeated the former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Balen Shah got 42,543 votes, while KP Sharma Oli was able to garner just 11,427 votes. In Kathmandu's tea shops and city squares, people are glued to their phones, checking results as the early trends flash up, suggesting Shah's centrist Rastriya Swatantra Party is ahead. Let's listen to the voices from the ground.
From Canada, so we are looking for the change because we have been to many different world developed countries, so we haven't seen this thing in our country. So I am very much urged to have my country to be in the same position like the developed country because I have seen the development over there.
If Balen is not going to be, or maybe the past leaders are over there, there will be unrest. Because people are looking forward to have change. We don't want the current politician to be again as a politician. We want the change. We want to make our Nepal a better place to be.
Well, so let's look at some of the key facts of Nepal's political system. Now, Nepal follows a multi-party system. The general elections were held in Nepal on the 5th of March 2026 and polling was held to elect 275 members of the House of Representatives. In Nepal, 165 members were elected via the first past the post system, and while 110 members get elected via the proportional representation system. A total of 3,406 candidates contested for the 165 directly elected constituencies. 3,135 candidates contested for the 110 proportional representation seats. Now, 65 political parties participated in this election, and the key political parties in this election are the Rastriya Swatantra Party, the RSP, the Congress, Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist-Leninist, CPN-UML, Nepali Communist Party, the Rastriya Swatantra Party, RPP, the People's Socialist Party Nepal, the Janata Samajwadi Party, the Janamat, and the Ujjalo Nepal Party, the UNP. The CPN-UML is led by the former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The Rastriya Swatantra Party, the RSP, is led by its chair Ravi Lamichhane, and the senior leader is Balendra Shah. The Reformed Nepali Congress is led by Gagan Thapa, while the Nepali Communist Party is led by Pushpa Kamal Dehal Prachanda. And Prasar Bharati correspondent Shweta Singh now joins us from Kathmandu with more on these results. Shweta, why have people thrown their, weight behind Balendra Shah?
Mark, you see, Rastriya Swatantra Party is a new party that came up during 2022 elections. That time it had only 21 seats around. Now when Gen Z movement happened, youth were seeing for a change, for new face that creates policy for them, for people of Nepal. And traditional parties, like you see the three largest party, Nepali Congress, CPN-UML and NCP. These parties earlier formed government in 2017 election, 2022 election, and even in 2012 election, they were there. More or less, they were the one who made the government. But this time when youth wanted a complete change, they looked to young people. That was like Ravi Lamchhane was one of them. The demerit was that Ravi Lamchhane was involved in corruption cases, and yet cases are ongoing on him. But yet people chose him because they assume that he is better than the traditional leaders, the old leaders that continue to rule Nepal for decades. So Rastriya Swatantra Party had a leverage more than these traditional party. And when they brought up Balendra Shah, that mayor of Kathmandu, now he will be face of Nepal here. So when he was brought in, people had I would say, thought for Balendra Shah that he should be the face that is going to lead Nepal. So when RSP pulled in Balen, they have got really 2/3 of the majority. You see, they are leading, and obviously they will be like getting 2/3 majority in total in HOR.
So what did he do as mayor that has struck a chord with the people? Because one looks at, is this personality or because of policy that, the RSP is coming to power?
See, Balen, when he was elected as mayor in Kathmandu, he did some of the very strategic movements that appealed the youth. He cleaned all the unauthorized building, waste management, and all, I would say, Kathmandu changed when he became mayor. And that reflected onto young people, assuming that when we choose Balen as Prime Minister of Nepal, the similar changes will happen in the entire country. So they're taking Kathmandu as a sample where the changes Balen brought can be reflected in the entire country. And you see, his entry was as a rapper here. And the ideas that he gave in his song reflected that this is the point that Nepali youth want. Change, completely removing the corruption from the system and making policies for the people. So in his song, in the song what rapper Balen had created, that reflected the youth aspiration.
Indeed. Shweta, do stay with us. We're also joined by Professor Mahindra Lama, expert on Nepal and School of International Studies, JNU. Professor Lama, when we look at these results, I mean, what is your first reaction? I mean, it's a total change completely. I mean, Nepal wants something completely different. Professor Lama,
it's very...
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Professor Lama. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's a very interesting and a situation of a new historical juncture for Nepal. And this clean sweep by relatively a new party, Rastriya Swatantra Party, is a kind of a symbol of what people really would like. to have in Nepal. One. Secondly, the voting is largely revenge voting against the conventional 3-4 parties that you did not perform. You took Nepal for granted, the Nepali nationals for granted, the corruptions, misgovernance, right, nepotism, all kinds of things came into being. So it was basically a revenge voting that whoever is the new party, if it has a charismatic leader, appealing leader, Nepalis would vote. And it's a very, very unexpected line that we had all expected it to be this. But the backdrop of this particular election is something historically different in Nepal. This was for the first time such widespread, spontaneous, public-centric and the government-centric violence took place in Nepal. This is for the first time the political parties, the institutions in Nepal, including police, army, court, could not do anything during the violence. And this is for the first time you will see that the violence spread all over Nepal. This was never the case. Never the case.
Sure. Let's go back to Shweta, our correspondent, who's looking at things from the ground. Shweta, the question that comes to mind is how prepared, is the RSP to govern, given its rapid ascent? I mean, we've seen these things in the past, but there's so much, hope and aspirations of the people that the government has to perform.
Mark, you are absolutely right that it is a completely new party. In 2002, this new party had come up, and people really hope very high from this party. And it will not be easy for Rastriya Swatantra Party to completely fulfill Nepali people's aspiration. As of now, I would say they are really comparatively very young. They don't have much of experience except for the Rabilam Chamne himself, who was Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister in 2022 government. So that way, you see, the people who have been candidate of RSP from different constituencies, they are relatively very young and very new to politics. As Professor Lama very rightly said, that it is more of a revenge voting here. And few of the political activities that happened in past 6 months really helped RSP gain this much of 2/3 majority. Because you see, there is infighting in Nepali Congress. That is responsible for getting them hardly 12 seats this time. Because Sher Bahadur Deoba faction were not active on the field, more discriminating and not supportive to existing Nepali Congress candidates. And you see, even the only best part is about NCP, that they united all the leftist different party and got together, and at least they are able to get 12 seats. If they were separate, I doubt Nepali Communist Party as a separate different individual party would have got 2-3 hardly seats. They could have been there. And UML had good number of loyalists in Nepal, yet because people themselves wanted change, so hardly they're getting 12 seats this time. So RSP is getting benefit of Gen Z movement, and because just they wanted an alternate government, they were fed up of the traditional parties, their fake promises, and the output from all these past year was nothing. So Nepali people wanted change, and they are expecting that this new party with a vision, but vision how much they can fulfill. It's only time can tell, because it's really difficult for a single party, new party, to fulfill all the promises. But expecting with their few things, like they wanted to bring PayPal to Nepal, that legal barriers will be removed. This have really put a good bait to youth who wants to integrate with global society, become a global citizen. So that way, I suppose RSP may try to fulfill the people's aspiration.
True. Let's take that question then to Professor Lama. So it's the youth aspirations, Professor Lama. What do you think the immediate challenges would be for this government integrating with the world in terms of technology and things like that?
The enthusiasm immediately after the results, which I am witnessing today, it is exactly the way what happened in 2008 when the Maoist violence ended and the first election happened. And that time I was in Nepal as an international observer, and I could clearly see so much of enthusiasm, exactly like this. But it soon started eroding as far as public faith, public confidence, and delivery from the government side is concerned. So today, I think the biggest problem, the biggest challenge for the Rastriya Swatantra Party would be first how it will resolve the gap between what people are expecting and its own ability to deliver. That is one. The more than that, I think people would be very keen to understand how institutions, institutional reforms would be done, how new institutions will be set up, and how institutional policies would be made, because that is a major problem in Nepal. The third, of course, is for the youths, all the youths located in several different provinces of Nepal. One of the things is they don't want to go to Kathmandu for everything. They would like to happen like in India in their own federal units in 7 states, right? And the fourth, of course, is how this party would take into account or confidence the huge ethnic communities there. Gurungs, Rai, Limbus, Tamang, Sherpas, and the Madises, and of course the Dalits there. That is going to be a very critical issue.
You're an expert also on foreign policy, Professor Lama. So to what extent do you think there could be a shift in foreign policy of Nepal going forward after this election? And, what kind of role would you see, them seeing for India in terms of the neighborhood?
Well, in a way, it's a major opportunity for India, because I always said that India had wrong partners in Nepal as far as their political constituencies are concerned. Because the partners in the past 20-30 years, they knew how to play one against another, right? So they knew the art of manipulating, the new art of what you call it, distancing, going to proximity. But this is a group led by Balen, which is absolutely a new face as far as governance in Nepal is concerned. And there is a good opportunity for India to work with this group, with this political party, and talk on much bigger and transforming issues. Say issues of how Nepal and Indian economy could be a common market, how they could be really integrated, how Nepal can be given access to the Bangladeshi ports through the Fulbari corridor and other corridors, right? And how India can help Nepal in its basic structural reforms as far as provinces are concerned, because I don't think any country, including America, would be keen to do such kind of activities. So it gives a absolutely brilliant opportunity for India to renegotiate, to realign on many institutional and policy issues.
Right. We also have our correspondent Siddharth Bharadwaj on the ground in Nepal, in Kathmandu. Siddharth, put this into context for us. We are looking at the massive support that Balendra Shah got. One would also look at, because the youth have participated, did social media and digital campaigning play a big role?
Yeah, definitely. Mark, keeping in consideration the fact that this is a Gen Z era, and when the voting happened on March 5th, we saw massive participation from the youth, especially from the Gen Z generation, who were coming to the polling stations to vote. There were many reasons why they came to vote. Number one is because what happened in September last year, the Gen Z protests, and it happened for a cause, and the cause was that they wanted the next government to remove corruption from the country and, of course, provide more and more opportunities to the youth, especially the Gen Z generation. And, of course, Balendra Shah, looking at his popularity, he promised many things in his manifesto during the intense campaigning of 15 days, which also includes around 1.2 million jobs, and also increasing the country's per capita income Apart from that, he also promised new job opportunities to the youth and, of course, the health insurance and some other things as well for the youth and for the Gen Z. So this is massive support is because of that. And, you know, when the Gen Z is united after the protests and in these elections, it was obvious that they would go to the polling stations. We had a word with a lot of people outside the polling stations on March 5th when we were exclusively covering the Nepal elections, and people were really, really happy, and Gen Z was especially happy. And when we were talking to them, they were saying that we certainly want Balendra Shah to win because he's the one we have a lot of aspirations and expectations with. He will take care of us. He will provide us more opportunities. And you know, Balendra Shah is just 35 years old. So that that age gap is not that much. So people could relate. And people are also expect that he will do benefit to the people of Nepal, and he will do things for the welfare of the people of Nepal. Now, Mark, the counting is still on. But as the results are coming, it is clear that RSP, which is Rastriya Swatantra Party, is having a dominance in these elections. Earlier we were saying that these elections are going to be very, very interesting for various reasons, because some faction was saying that old party still have a dominance in these elections, and they being loyalists, they will vote for the old party and old candidates. But on the other hand, you have a Gen Z generation, and they have certainly changed the dynamics of these elections. And when we have a word with them, they were saying we are completely with Balendra Shah. We want him to win. So there was a divide. That was there before the election, but now that the results are coming in,
can we also look at some of the other parties? Because I mean, if we focus too much only on the winner, then we also need to look at why the losers have lost. You know, I mean, after all, there's a generational shift that's taken place. Do you think there's enough for these other parties that have been dominant for years to revive?
Mark, see, the downfall of the old political parties, there is a big reason to it. Number one, when these elections happened, when these elections started, this was a battle between the traditional political parties and political candidates versus the new political parties and new candidates. And like I was just mentioning you, the September 8 Gen Z protests changed the dynamics of these elections, you know, to an extent that the results now see a dominance of Rastriya Swatantra Party, from which Balendra Shah is standing, and the chances are very high that he could be the Prime Minister of Nepal. However, the counting is still going on. But as far as the revival of these political parties, the old political parties, is concerned, that it's very unlikely, you know, because it was just September and it's now March, Mark. So the time frame is not much, and that anger, that frustration is still there in the youth. When we had a word with them, they were saying that we were actually frustrated. If you remember, there was a hashtag #NepoKid, which was there right before the protest took place. So that was the anger which was growing in, and the sparking point was the government putting a ban on some social media platforms. So basically it was about putting a ban on people expressing their opinions online. So that was the anger which initially started this.
So then the social media and digital campaigning did actually have an impact. Siddharth, we're running short of time, so let me just get in some words from our guest as well. Professor Lama, you know, I mean, we talked about the immediate challenges, but the question is whether this is just one election wonder, you know, for the Swatantra Party. Will they be able to sustain this? I mean, it's a historical opportunity, one would think. Massive mandate, a new party coming in. But, you know, I mean, there are others who are hanging in the wings with a lot of politics behind them. So what's the future going to be like?
See, as of today, what characterized the old system of governance, government formation, everything remains intact. Police, bureaucracy, security, policies, Supreme Courts, everything remains intact. So the first 3 years are going to be very, very critical for Swatantra Party if they would really like to deliver, right? On top of that, for the first time, I could see across Nepal, the culture of violence has really gone down to the people's mind, to the institutions. So I would think that if and there is I could also see the possibility that there will be a leadership tussle within Swatantra Party, because Swatantra Party has had such kind of history in the last 3-4 years, right? So Swatantra Party has to be absolutely a party run, which could be run with democratic aspirations, ethos, and more than that, with a very strong self-regulating features if they would really like to deliver. People are expecting. I hope they will be able to deliver.
We'll have to leave it there. Thanks very much, Professor Lama, for being with us. Thank you, Siddharth and Shweta, also for joining in and putting things into context for us in this special program. That's all we have in this special program, which is on Nepal. And, the question remains, will it be a long-term realignment in Nepal that has taken place? After all, a new party has come to power with a massive mandate. And will they be able to sustain that momentum going forward, given what Professor Lama says, that the old system still is intact? I mean, they have to take some time to dismantle it for change. That's all we have. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.